This is going to be your weekly chakra energy check-in. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. We're going to take a look at the energies you may be experiencing throughout your chakras. So in the comments, please put your word of the day, word of the week, your current vibe. Let me know how you're feeling. You know, I think there's a mixture of energy in the air. It's a combination of excitement and anxiety. You know, this is a time of implementation. I've been talking about this a lot lately, so please excuse me if I'm repeating myself from previous videos or live sessions. I would say that right now we're in this energy where we've gained knowledge and wisdom, and now we're implementing it. We're making moves. It's so important right now that we take the methodical steps. It doesn't mean we have to change anything overnight. It basically means that we have to start using the knowledge we have and making the moves so that we can have a better outcome or a better future. We don't want to be in the same old story. We don't want to be in stuck energy. And, you know, there is a bit of stubbornness in the air. And I think that it's really important for people to recognize that not everything is one size fits all. Not everything is exactly the way that we want it. It's important that we are open to the possibilities. And that's what learning is, you know. I would say that we learn lessons that can either challenge our belief system, they can reinforce our belief system. Essentially, it's energy that takes us to new experiences, and we learn from those experiences and keep moving forward, right? So let's take a look at the overall themes and messages for this reading today. Let's see what you may be experiencing. And we have Fortune's Wheel, luck and right timing. This is the whole thing, you know. Oftentimes I use an expression that is good luck is bad luck and bad luck is good luck. Sometimes you think something is so great and then you realize later, it wasn't what you thought, or maybe it wasn't such great luck. And on the flip side, there are times when you think something is really not so great, but it actually ended up being the best blessing of your life. And so this means right now, timing is coming into play. Maybe those lessons that you're learning are meant to be implemented now. And so I would say embrace the change and be open, okay? You never know what could be around the corner, and don't fight the shift is what I always say to everyone. Now let's take a look at what else we may be experiencing. And we have here nourishment, rice. Very interesting, because nourishment means you are slowly building your strength and your courage. You're nourishing yourself with knowledge, right, and experience. And it provides you longevity, right? So let's see what else we need to know. Mindfulness, and this doesn't surprise me because I've seen this card pop up a lot recently. Peaceful presence and quiet mind. What brings you peace? I'm asking this all the time, it feels like. What does it mean to have peace in your life? Okay, for me, peace means I don't have to constantly implement boundaries. It means I can live my life and do as I please. You know, it's like I tell people all the time, it's your mind, your body, your soul, and you can make whatever decisions you'd like. At the same time, it's important for people to respect boundaries. And when people don't respect boundaries, that's where we have a lack of peace. So if we want peace, we need to maintain our boundaries, right? We need to put ourselves first. So this could be about self-love, self-care. Do whatever brings you peace. You know, sometimes that means getting out in nature, walking in the forest or walking on the trail. It could mean taking a salt bath where you ground yourself. It can mean going into a room and reading a book. It could mean watching your favorite show, bringing you some joy that escapes from the day-to-day, you know. Peace, no overthinking, no problem solving for other people. You know, something I should bring up as well is a term that my mother used to always say, and that was problem ownership. Ask yourself, is it your problem? You know, oftentimes we take on other people's problems or difficulties, and there are times when that boundary has to come in where you say, it's not my problem. It's called problem ownership. So in order to keep a quiet mind or your own peace, sometimes you have to let people figure things out for themselves, right? So let's take a look at the Chakra Wisdom Tarot here, which, as you can see, has all the different colors of the chakras or energy centers in the body. What we're going to do is we're going to take a card for each chakra. And then we're going to take some oracle cards to clarify that energy. So let's start off with the root chakra, which is Mars. This is your foundation. And right now we have the Emperor. So here's the thing. You got to make some moves. That's something I keep repeating every day lately. Making moves. Now, again, you don't have to make these moves overnight. This is not something that has to be done with instant gratification. This takes time. But in order to make these moves, you've got to be calm, cool, collected, and strong in your energy. You got to mean what you say and say what you mean. And I've been saying that a lot to people lately. You know, you have to be very, very clear. So let's take a look at the oracle cards that go with this card. And there's the compass. True north, you know, and that's home, right? True north is home. I would say you're in the process of discovery, seeking truth, finding your way. You want to know where you're going. You want to explore. Now, you can't try to control the outcome, but you definitely want to know where you're going by being curious and figuring out a new direction. You might want to make a plan, but understand that you can't try to control the outcome. I don't like the word planning. I prefer more setting intentions, because intentions mean you put something out there and you see where it takes you. Okay, so let's see what else we need to know here. Headaches. It's hard to make decisions. It's hard to make moves, you know? And it says right on here, needing self-care. And this is my point about peace. Sometimes we have to make power moves in order to find our peace. Okay? So here's the thing about the Emperor that I just wanted to mention. And that is, when we make moves, the move should be for a certain benefit. You don't want to make lateral moves that bring you no benefit at all. You don't want to just make a move for the sake of making a move because you think you have to. You don't want to move left. You don't want to move right. You don't want to move backwards, that's for sure. All you want to do is move forward. And when you do that for yourself, it's almost like people want to, I don't know, sometimes poke in your business, or they want to give you their opinion, or they want to try to pull you backwards. And you're just trying to find yourself. You're just trying to make your moves. But it's almost like, again, problem ownership. You can't let other things infiltrate your energy. You know who you are. You know what you're doing. And you can't let these headaches get to you. Okay? But if you need the self-care, do it. Okay, you might even be getting signals from your body, as in certain pains or, emotional responses in your pain body. Now, let's see what's going on here in the sacral chakra. Now, the sacral chakra is Venus. That's your self-worth, self-value, and self-respect. And we have here the Nine of Cups, ask and you shall receive. And it's interesting, we got the orange card, which is the sacral chakra, Venus. You have to ask for what you want. And so here's my point, actually. I was about to say this and I forgot. And that is, the Emperor card is blue. And the blue is the throat chakra, which means communicating what you want for you, for your benefit, not for anyone else's, for you. When you make the moves for you, you get the rewards. So ask and you shall receive. What is it that you want right now? Okay? What can you do for you that benefits your self-care? Your life, your career, your relationship. What do you need? So the man energy, it's interesting. This could be you or a man you're dealing with, but in general, masculine energy is making moves. That's why the Emperor is such strong masculine energy. It's fire, it's Aries energy, it's doing, right? So in order to manifest the things we want, we do need to make moves. And that's what I think people really misunderstand about manifestation. And I think I mentioned this in a previous video, that oftentimes people think if they say, I want this, I want this. Okay, well, the universe goes, yeah, you want this. But want is actually being in lack. There's a difference between wanting and taking the methodical steps and doing in order to achieve your goals. Anybody can say they want something. If you say, yes, I want this, the universe goes, yeah, you want this. But nothing changes. And that's why you hear a lot of people who say, you know, I try and I try and I try and nothing happens. Nothing comes to me. Nothing changes. I see these readings all the time and nothing changes. The only way to achieve change is to spark new energy. And that's why I always say new people, new hobbies, new adventures, new learning. We're lifelong learners, and this is the whole point. Let me have a side note here for a moment, and this comes from the teacher side of me because I was a high school teacher for 19 years. And the one thing that I can tell you is that if we stay stuck in our learning and we refuse to learn new things or to look at hindsight and learn from the past, we're not making moves. You know, sometimes there are people who will sit there and say, I know what I know and that's all I need to know. And that's okay. Sometimes I can understand that. You know, my ex-husband used to say that line all the time. But at the same time, do we really know everything? We don't. We really don't. Because I can think of many times as a teacher standing in front of a classroom where I didn't know the answer, and I'm supposed to be the authority in that subject area. So it's okay sometimes to say to your class or your students or to other people, hey, you know what? I really don't know this. Do you know the answer? Or you Google that answer, or you go and you figure it out. And that's how you gain new knowledge, you know? And I think there's this stubbornness, like I said earlier, in the air of this is how it is. I know what I know, and I'm not going to budge on that. And this is where the learning gets stuck, and this is where the energy gets stuck. And then people wonder why things aren't changing. So it's tough, you know, it's a learning curve for all of us. I think the hardest thing, you know, is to surrender, is to be open, and to allow things to possibly go a direction that we never thought possible. And so all I can say is invite new energy into your life. It could be the best thing that ever happened to you, but you have to ask for it and you've got to make the moves. You've got to do the learning and make the connections in order to see the results or the change come to you. You know, we can't do the same thing over and over and over again expecting different results, right? They say that's the definition of insanity. So if something's not working, then you got to try something else. And if you are getting resistance, then you might want to think to yourself, hey, I've got to do different. Maybe this isn't the path that I meant to take, or maybe this isn't the relationship that's right for me or the person that's right for me. Maybe I have to reevaluate the steps that I'm taking or the learning that I'm doing, you know? And these are all, of course, very difficult things, you know, not easy for anyone. However, there is an element of logic and emotion, experience, the universe. It's all a combination. And the birdcage. See, here's the whole point. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The birdcage is about being possessive, codependent, you know, clinging on to something, you know, not seeing things a certain way. This can also be somebody who needs to free themselves, you know. So if you're feeling trapped in a certain energy, you've got to find ways to get out of that cage for yourself and find new experiences. So this can also be an energy of ignorance as bliss, where sometimes we don't want to see things a certain way. You know, we want to see them the way we see them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. And so it's a tough journey, but it's about learning, right? Learning by doing. Learning through experience. So let's take a look at the solar plexus. What do we need to know about our personal power today? Death and rebirth. Some of you may have taken a hit to your personal power, and sometimes that means possibly feeling like you lost at something, or you felt rejected, or something didn't go your way, you lost your confidence. And this is basically making the moves to rebuild yourself and transform yourself. Now, I always say you're never starting at zero. You're never starting at nothing. You're starting with knowledge that you didn't have before. Okay? So let's see what we need to know about this. And there's the bouquet. This is so beautiful. This is happiness and harmony and creativity. This is what I love, because creativity, having a curiosity or the ability to imagine something, is the beginning point of something that could totally change your life. You know, just think of how many successful people in this world have all started with an idea. And that idea may not have been gold in that moment, but over time and learning and curiosity, it develops into something. It's a journey, right? It's not so much about the destination, it's the journey and what you learned along the way. I keep saying this in my videos. I've been, reminiscing a lot about the last 10 years of my life, and so much has changed. And for the better, at one time I thought it was going to be this and it wasn't, it was that, or I started on this and I ended up there. I never thought I'd ever leave my career. I would start my online platform. The unknown, yes, it can be scary, but again, it's also exciting. And that was my whole point at the very beginning of this reading when I said there's this beauty of excitement in a way, the unknown, and yet it can be so scary. You need a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety sometimes to drive you to search for something. And that's the key, is creativity and curiosity and being open. There's even on this card here the word expressive, and that means speaking it into reality. You have to be very careful with your self-talk. You have to recognize that your body doesn't know the difference between what is real and what isn't. So when you say things about yourself, even if they're not true, you're just being hard on yourself, your body believes it. So if you're being positive, your body will register that. Now, I'm not saying life is rainbows and butterflies. It isn't. We're all going to have good days and bad days. But we have to stay accountable and we have to keep ourselves in check. A lot of self-regulation is necessary. So let's see what else we need to know. See, we had this card the other day. Curtain call. Curtain call. It's showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for that transformation? Are you ready for that recognition? Are you ready to focus your attention on the things that really matter to you? Again, problem ownership. It's not your problem. Other people have to figure things out just as much as you have to figure your stuff out. Everybody's responsible for their own healing. So let's take a look at the heart chakra. What do we need to know in matters of the heart right now? The Eight of Coins. There's work to do. And I always tell people it's a matter of working smart, not hard. I think sometimes we do too much, and I would go back to less is more. Be simple. You don't have to do this, and this to make anything happen. When you're pushing and overdoing, overgiving, or convincing, it will repel everything in an instant. And so I would just say that you need to do the work you need to do. Let it happen as it happens, but don't try to force anything. The more you try to force, the more it runs away, and the more it repels. How do you feel? Here's an example that I always use. When I was teaching, actually it's more than just teaching in my life in general, but I can remember certain examples in a classroom where there may have been an expectation of me for something. Like I always have this old story about, and it's sad actually, I remember when it was like Halloween, and I had bought all these treats and candies for my students, and I had a student walk in and say, "What are you going to give me?" Like, what are you going to give us? And in my mind, it's just like, oh, nothing, because I don't like that nagging, or I don't like that entitlement. I don't like anybody trying to tell anybody what to do. It's almost like when someone nags you or pushes you to do something, typically it's going to repel you, right? So think about that in regards to when you're pushing at work for a promotion and you're trying to convince your bosses or your boss that you need to receive this promotion, this raise, this whatever, or in regards to a relationship, when you're trying to convince somebody to be with you and you're saying, but I love you, but I want to give, but this, that, but that. And we've all been there, myself included. It just pushes somebody away. And yet the moment you let go, or you're open to the possibilities, things start coming your way. When you stop doing this, and this, all of a sudden you start getting the things that you want. And this is why, it sounds so backwards to detach or to surrender. We think we have to push more in order to get what we want. And I would say when it's internal motivation, as in your personal growth and evolution, push yourself. Yes, Absolutely. Do the things that you need to do. Don't overdo it, but learn, take the methodical steps, realize that things are not going to happen overnight. But in regards to external things like your career, your romantic life, whatever it is, you can't force it, you can't push it, because the more you do, the more it runs away from you. So working hard versus working smart. In matters of the heart, since this is the heart chakra, and it doesn't have to all be about romance. The heart is not just about romance. I mean, the heart is, what are you passionate about? What do you love to do? Where is your heart? In regards to, like I said, your career, your family, your friends, and yeah, romantically too. So let's see what cards go along with this. The Magnet. Here's the thing. The magnet means you're being pulled, right? And a lot of the times when there's a longing or there's a desire for something, that is the lack. That's the living in lack. Now, I can understand magnetic connections or feeling like something is magnetic, but nothing should be difficult. It should be easy, right? Nothing should be forced. And so it's like what I said about manifestation earlier. If you are saying, I want this, want is lack. Or if you're asking a question in regards to, will I be happy? Will I find love? Question words indicate doubt. They mean you doubt yourself. And I'm not saying it's wrong to ask questions, especially if you want to know what's going to happen in your life. I just want you to be more conscious of the fact that we can't speak in question. We have to speak in statements, in power statements. I am love. I am abundant. I am successful. Versus things like, when will I find love? When will I be happy? When will I meet my soulmate? These are all things that indicate we don't believe, right? That's why when we question ourselves particularly, we have this difficulty. Now, in regards to manifestation, and I said being curious and asking questions, that's different. Ask things like, what do I need to know about this or that? Learning something about a topic, whether you're studying something or it's a hobby, that brings you new energy and sparks you and brings you on a journey. When you're questioning yourself, what you're doing is you're actually pulling yourself backwards. The magnet is pulling you backwards versus pulling you forwards. Hopefully that makes sense. So in theory, if there's an element of desperation for something, where like you have to have this, you have to have it this way, you are 1,000% right and there's no option for any other possibility, what you're doing is limiting yourself. That's why the universe or manifestation, the talk is always ask for what you want or better, because why would you limit yourself? You deserve the best of the best of the best of the best, whatever that may be. So be aware of how you phrase your manifestations. And maybe that's the Virgo in me, or maybe that's the teacher in me. I'm very particular about words. I don't like limiting. So let's see what else we need to know here. Happening now. The situation or event in question is occurring right now. So you are in the process of doing the work. The question is, are you working hard or are you working smart? Okay. And of course, as you know, I advise you to work smart. Now, let's take a look at the throat chakra. So this is about communication. What do we need to know about communication? Okay. Princess of Swords. Page of Swords energy can be about being logical and decisive, and I would love for you to communicate clearly and decisively. At the same time, this can be energetic chasing or spying or observing on social media. And I have had these conversations recently with some people, and that is, please be careful of the content you keep on your phone. And what I mean by that is, if you're holding back, old pictures or conversations, meaning you're keeping them in your phone, you're holding them back from being deleted, it's important to purge that energy, because if you're looking at old pictures or screenshots or conversations, it can hold you back from other people or situations for that matter. So just be mindful of what kind of energy you're consuming, you're keeping, or you're putting out there. Because if you are energetically chasing, again, this is what pulls the magnet backwards. You know, on a side note, I was having a conversation recently about trying to recreate a specific person. I don't know about you. I mean, I've done it, not recently, but I used to, where I would look for the exact same person, right? If I couldn't have this person, it would be like I'd look for this zodiac sign, this cultural background, this particular look, and I would limit myself, you know, because I thought I wanted this and I was only going to accept this. And then when I stopped doing that, it's amazing how things shifted for me. And so just be mindful of where your thoughts go, your limiting beliefs, and what you're trying to manifest. Because I know a lot of people want to, you know, manifest a specific person. And I realize there's a lot of people out there that want to tell you how to do that. The problem, in my opinion, with that is that you end up putting the energy on the person and not yourself. It becomes, I have to have this person. It has to be this. It has to be that. But then people don't really look at their own self-concept or how they look at themselves or their own growth and, you know, learning. So to me right now, there's a few sides to this card, and based on the energy of these cards here in total, but logic, decisiveness, and, you know, making moves. Which magnet energy are you in? Again, are you being pulled backwards, or are you being pulled in a new direction, even though it might be a little bit scary, you know, or you might be anxious about it? But to me, that's kind of the best energy, when you do feel a little bit of that, because it means new things are coming your way, and they can be absolutely beautiful. So there you go. What did I just say? The Empress, birthing a whole new cycle. And that Venus energy that goes with that is self-worth, self-value, and self-respect. It's about putting yourself in a position where you are creative and you're passionate about what you do and you're open to new things. This is about growth, right? And this is grace and charm and love, magnetism, abundance, attracting the abundance. If you're attracting lack, if you're attracting the same old, you have to ask yourself why that is. Okay, so let's take a look with this deck, what we need to know about that. See the eclipse. This is my whole point. This is transformation and merging. I love this because eclipse energy can be union of the sun and the moon, as we know. We are technically kind of in this eclipse energy where, you know, going back to our last solar eclipse till the end of September, a lot of change is happening. You might feel that instability. You might feel that nervousness. You might feel that change happening, and that's okay. It's a good thing. You need it. You know, otherwise, how do we grow? How do we change? How do we experience, you know, the beauty of this love if we're not investing in ourselves, right? So interesting. You can have that union, but the union really does start with self. When you're feeling good about you, when you're putting the work into you, you'll attract that union that you're looking for with another person. So let's take a look at the third eye, which is Jupiter, your intuition, and you have the Princess of Cups. Again, another point here that I want to make, and I'm going to reiterate, and that is you have to believe in miracles and you have to be open to the possibilities. If you're saying, again, it has to be this way, well, then you're going to sit and you're going to wait and you're going to feel the frustration. You have to be willing to see how things unfold or let the miracles come in. The question is, do you believe in miracles? Do you believe that things can happen? Do you believe that you deserve the best of the best of the best? Because that's really what it comes down to, is what do you feel you deserve? You know, are you willing to trust the universe? You know, that it can be something different than you ever imagined or better than you ever imagined. And I always say this, you know, when you feel better, when you get better, when things that come in are better, you know the difference, because you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about whether someone likes you, loves you, wants you. You don't have to stress about all the details. It's just easy, and that's really what it should be. So let's take a look. Believing in miracles, new stages of something, or the early stages of something really nice on an emotional level. And look, the loons, deeply committed, uncommon bond. You manifest your deepest desires. You have to be all in for what you love, in the sense that you got to wholeheartedly believe in yourself. That's the difference. So with that, we have repairman. Repair and fine-tune and heal. Reset yourself. Make adjustments. This is my whole point, is that as you go along this journey, it's simply just fine-tuning and adjusting. Think back. I don't know. I'm just going to use myself as an example because I keep saying the last 10 years. I want you to think about where you were 10 years ago. Tell me, what has changed for you in the last 10 years? If things have changed, great. If they haven't changed, meaning you've experienced the same things, or maybe, your relationship has stayed the same, which, might be something you're unhappy about, I don't know, or you feel stuck in your job or whatever, then you have to ask yourself, why is that? So in the last 10 years, what has changed? What growth, what steps have you taken to make changes? And again, they don't have to be major. They can be small and methodical steps. But the key here is that you're fine-tuning. You're adjusting as you go. You're learning as you go. Because nobody has the answers. Nobody. Only you as you adjust and as you change. And that's why I always come back to my teaching background of growth mindset. If you have a growth mindset, it means you're willing to take feedback. It means you're willing to push yourself. It means you're willing to try new things, even when they don't go your way, even when you fail at something. That's why I always say, be a Roomba vacuum. What does it do? It spins around the room. Okay, it hits the wall, no worries. We redirect ourselves. We don't worry about mistakes or never trying again. We continually grow and change. I used to always say, I can take piano lessons. I remember as a child, my mother really wanted me to take piano lessons. My father even bought this beautiful piano, and I'm not going to be a concert pianist, okay? I can improve myself, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be perfect at it. And all that matters is I'm making the effort to grow and to change. If I tell myself I can't do something, or it has to be a certain way, what I'm doing is completely limiting myself and keeping myself in a fixed mindset. And so therefore, the teacher in me, or the cheesy teacher in me, says we're lifelong learners and we continue to grow and change. The school of life is what matters, not finishing school at grade 12. That doesn't mean we stop. It means we continue to grow. You would never tell a child not to continue their curiosity and their growth. So why would we do that as adults? Right? So let's take a look here at the crown chakra. What do we need to know about the downloads? There you go. There's the crown chakra right there, the high priestess. And the high priestess is signs and synchronicities. But again, let me remind you about these signs and synchronicities. People think sometimes that when they get signs that they mean this is it. I don't know, this is how it has to be. This is the perfect person for me. I want the one. And I just want to remind you that many people can be the one. If you know my friend Miro, the astrologer that I've worked with for a long time now, he and I talk about this all the time, where it's not just one person. There are many different people that we can encounter that can bring wonderful things to our lives. So being open to signs is really important. Understand that when you get signs and synchronicities, they're testing you. So sometimes when you see a birth date of a person, or you see a name, or you see this, and this, what it's really asking you is, are you in the old or are you in the new? And I know that that's really hard for people, because we want to make them fit sometimes. And I used to do the same thing. And now that I'm kind of what I would describe as on the other side, where I've been through this process for a long time and I talk to so many people, I realize that a lot of what we go through on the daily is just testing us. And when we pass those tests, when we put ourselves out there, when we have a growth mindset, this is where we get the most success and change in our lives. The people that I see consistently who keep themselves accountable and open and willing to change, they get what they want, or better. That's the key. So let's take a look here at the oracle cards. And that's the teacher in me. I love seeing that change in people. I love seeing that growth. I love seeing their success come to them. Because it's a reflection. We're all a reflection of each other. See, this is the ship. It means moving forward. Okay? With the wind. Allow things to take you on an adventure. Allow yourself to go places that you never thought you'd ever go before. That's where you get the most learning, And let's see what else here. There you go. I mean, I couldn't say this any better than what these cards have just shown me. You can either be in the labyrinth where you're lost, you're delayed, you're in complicated energy, or you allow yourself to move forward. So the signs, they can pull you backwards, they can make you confused. I mean, how many times have you ever been in a situation where you got a sign or a synchronicity thinking that it meant one thing, but it left you more confused? Because I know many people who've been in that energy, and I used to too, And so you can either let yourself be confused and get more confusion, right? When people say, I'm confused, you get more, I'm confused. You say, I don't know, you get more, I don't know. And so the ship is reminding you that if you keep moving onward and upward, despite whatever the sign or synchronicity is, again, you have a shot of really achieving something. Because when you move yourself forward, when you're open, the possibilities are endless. And that's the beauty. Whenever I get a sign and synchronicity of something in the past, because I get them all the time. I still do, especially from when I was sparked, or dreams that I had years ago. I kind of just like giggle to myself or I look up at the sky, at the universe, and I go, what a sense of humor. Thank you. And I don't let it consume me, or I don't let it dictate me, because it's only just a reminder. It's only just something in the moment. We can't stay stuck in that moment. We have to continue moving forward. So let's take some last bit of guidance here. Excuse me. See, there's my point. Time to go. It's time to leave the old stuff behind. And I just want to make an observation just in the way that I put this card down without even thinking. I put it right at the top here. And this path, this time to go, this portal, leads us into the fortune's wheel, which means we're going to go towards our abundance, our good fortune, our luck, and yet we have no idea where that shift is going to take us. That's the point, okay? And instead of taking another card from this deck, I want to take one from the Moonology deck here. I want to see, oops, actually I know what that card, show the world the real you. I knew what the card was that just popped up a second ago. And it was your commitment is being tested. And that's the thing. Are you able to move yourself forward? Are you able to show the world the real you and live your authentic truth and do for you? Because again, it's not about the expectations that people have on you or society has on you. It's who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Are you open to the possibilities? Or are you going to fight the shift? Deep talks for a chakra reading on a Tuesday. But I really hope this resonates with you. As always, I appreciate your likes, your comments, your subscribe. It really means the world to me. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me, the link is in my bio. Again, thank you very much, and I wish you an amazing day.